And welcome to another episode of the EmpowerMAN podcast. It's highly caffeinated Mike over here, working on his third cup of Cafe Bustelo because his plane had mechanical malfunctions and they didn't get back into Palm Beach till 3 o'clock this morning. And I am joined by a man who is not as caffeinated as I am today, but he's about 100 ounces of water deep. He is every young girl's fantasy. He's every old girl's dream. Older women's dream, as I say that. I can say that right? Whatever. I think we all get the idea. He's the one and only. He's my friend. He's your friend. He's the Patriot Parent friend, champion of the Second Amendment. And he is the Silver Fox himself. Greg A. Tedora, number one. Greg, sir, I may have fumbled the intro, but the intent was good.
It was there.
Sir.
I felt it. And yes, the Silver Fox, it's coming in and it's coming fast. So,
right.
Oh well, it is what it is. I truly believe growing old is a privilege.
It really is.
It's
it really is. It's like, it's funny. I was in Cleveland yesterday and I met a few really nice people I was talking to. And as you get older, I was talking to this one young lady who was sitting next to me. We just struck up a conversation and she was about 30 years old. We were talking and, where you live in different parts of the country, obviously can kind of reflect just how you carry yourself and your thought processes. And she's like, yeah, I'm 30 years old. I feel like, my life is just, I'm not where I want to be. I said, listen, girl, you're 30, your 20s, you don't know anything. Your 30s, you figure it out. When you hit your 40s, you just don't care. Like, very little phases you. And I think as you get older, like you said, getting older is a privilege.
Yeah.
It really is. And to quote one of your favorite songs, right? Diamond Girl, you make me feel like I'm on fire when you are near, right? Diamond Girl, right? For those that know the song, and keep on.
That's right.
So, Greg T, just want to give a shout out to our first responders, our EMTs, our policemen and women, our firemen and women. Thank you for keeping us safe and sound.
Yes, sir. And thank you to all the military personnel here and overseas as things are heating up conveniently, time frame wise. Be careful, watch your back, and we love and support you and always thank you and your families.
Speaking of heating up, I cannot believe how fast April is going by.
I just had this conversation with a friend the other day. How fast even this week went by. It's flying.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I remember when we were younger, we'd be counting down the days to Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
Now we're older. It's every day we're like, well, geez, every day now I'm getting a little older.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, that is as well. Yeah. That as well. Well, today's topic, Greg T, is a good one because I have the same conversation with one of my very near and dearest friends all the time about the guy that she's been hanging out with. And I give her the same response. So we've entitled this episode, How to Get Off the Hamster Wheel. Because sometimes I hope hamster's okay for me to say. I don't want to make sure I don't get canceled. Is hamster wheel something that can cancel me?
You can see I'm real concerned about that. You're fine.
Right. So we'll go back to using hamster wheel.
That's it.
So I have a friend who I love very much. She is just a wonderful person. She's one of my closest friends down here.
Mm-hmm.
I give her the same advice every time. And it's the same story over and over and over and over again. And when we look at the macro versions of our lives, we'll make decisions, we'll make choices that we tend to go back to because it's comfortable. But in essence, that comfort level gets us on that hamster wheel and we keep going round and round and round and round and round, right?
Yep.
Like the Rat song, round and round.
Yeah, but you're not going anywhere, but you're moving.
No, we are moving.
Mm-hmm.
Great. What does it mean to be on a hamster wheel? What does it mean to understand why people get on that hamster wheel in the first place? Is it comfort? Is it all they know? How do we put ourselves in the situation first?
Listen, that's pretty loaded questions, but I think people get on it for different reasons, but people also stay on it for different reasons. And I think let's start with people getting on it first. Some people don't know any different. Okay, that's not their fault. Some people, that's all they see and know, so it's not a hamster wheel in their opinion. They think they're moving forward, even though from everyone else on the outside, they're just spinning their wheels. And so, whether you're the person that knows you're in it or doesn't know you're in it, you need to either figure out yourself or from your friends or family that you are in it, and you gotta kick it in gear and move. Some people don't have that ability to do that. And we also know people that, even if they were to get off, they don't know how to live their lives independently, and they're going to choose to get back on that because it is comfortable and it is all they know. So it's pretty complicated, but in my opinion, being on a hamster wheel is the biggest waste of time, energy, emotion, money, everything. It's the biggest waste of time. What about you?
I think people on the hamster wheel that keep going around in circles are expecting a different result.
Yeah.
It's like you get on it, you're only going one direction. It's not like you're going to go lateral or you're going to rotate. It's you're just going to go in one big circle.
Hmm.
It's almost like the Palm Beach airport. For those that fly to Palm Beach, it can be a little confusing sometimes
I love
trying
that
to
airport.
trying to get out. Right? I mean, because you see exit, exit,
Yeah, yeah,
exit.
yeah.
Next thing you know, you're wrapping around. Right?
Hmm.
Especially when you've been up for almost 24 hours and you're trying to leave and you keep going around in circles, and then you lose your composure and you finally find your way out of there at 20 minutes after the fact.
Anger.
Speak, I'm speaking from a friend. A friend of
Yes.
mine told me this, so I don't know. That's what my friend told me.
Yeah.
I
It's
keep it pretty
hearsay.
simple. When I go to Palm Beach Airport, I just park next to the elevator. Just saying. But
Hmm.
it's being on a wheel expecting to go in a different direction. I think people get on that hamster wheel because if they keep pushing hard, and the faster that wheel goes, they're either A, going to get to their destination quicker in their mind, or B, they're going to expect a different result. If I go faster, I'll get a different result. But it's not necessarily the case. So therefore, we get in that cyclical thought process, that cyclical mindset, and it becomes really, really detrimental, I feel. And speaking of detriments, Greg,
Hmm.
what are the detriments of being on that hamster wheel? Like, I mean, what implications can this have in all areas of your life?
Personal growth, monetary growth, relationship growth, friendship growth, family growth. So just let's label that growth, okay?
Got it.
But also just experiencing more, experiencing different things in life, and seeing different things, experiencing both good and bad. It's just living your life. If you're just in that on that wheel in that tunnel, that's all you see. You're not living your fullest potential, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off that. I think there would be some adverse health effects with
Absolutely.
anxiety,
Hmm.
anger, depression,
Yep.
sleepless nights, cortisol levels.
Yeah.
You
Love
know,
those.
right? Because sometimes relationships become parasitic. Like if she's happy, I'm happy. If she's sad, I'm sad. So you absorb someone's
Yeah.
emotion
Hmm.
being on that hamster wheel because again, let me go faster, try to get a different result.
Yeah.
And more than likely, when you're on that wheel, you're going to get the same result. You're going to go in circles.
Absolutely.
And I don't understand for the life of me why. And I guess it's different because we're not in a situation. But I also feel like, as a rational human being, I feel like there's not many rational people left in this world anymore.
Completely agree with you on that.
Whether
Common
it's
sense and rational.
whether it's business, whether it's living somewhere, whether it's at work, it's like I think in common sense terms. And maybe I'm older. Maybe there's a cat.
Hey.
Yep, that's my
Yeah.
cat. She's chasing flies around the apartment right now because I'm
Yep.
currently in a fly infestation. But that's beside the point. Greggy T, why why are people so stuck on staying on that wheel? If I just go a little bit faster, if I just try a little bit more, there's got to be an inner turmoil or inner strife that people have. Why do you think people just feel like if I go a little bit faster, I'll get a different result?
I think number one, they lack the amount of confidence it takes to break the cycle. They may be confident to a degree. I'm not saying they're not, but not enough to get out of that or move to the
Right.
side, like you said, laterally and actually go somewhere.
Right.
And also, a lot of people, in my experience, are afraid of change,
Yes.
whether that be, logistically with where they live or relationship or job. People are afraid of that. So if you think about that, they're afraid of change. I'm just going to stay here. I'm just going to stay here. I don't want to go there. I don't know the unknown. Meanwhile, sometimes the unknown is way better. And if it's not, you can always pivot and go back and try again. So I think, scared of change and confidence come right to my mind for those two.
Yeah, and on a relatable story too, like living in Manhattan after a while for me, I had a ball, and then it
Yeah.
became a time where I wanted to grow, but I was scared. I was afraid. And again, you get stuck in that work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. And next thing you know, 10 years have gone.
Yeah.
And even some
Absolutely.
of the girlfriends that I have that were high powered individuals, work hard, play. Now they're older and they didn't get off that wheel, and they're still attractive. They're just older, and like they find themselves in a position in life that they probably didn't think they were going to be in, because we always think we have time, right? You said it's a privilege
Always.
to get older, and it's 100% accurate. We look at Kobe
Yeah.
Bryant; he never got a chance to live to 46. So it is a
Yeah.
privilege, and I hate using Kobe as a gross exaggeration. God rest
Some
his
of our
soul.
friends didn't make it that
Some
old.
of our friends didn't make it to not even 40.
Yeah.
So it is a privilege to get older. And as we look at that, we always think we have time.
Hmm.
Oh, I've got time. I've got time. I've got time. And we even talked about before coming on the air about finances. And we think, oh, well, I'll make it up, or, this. But, in one hand, we can't take it with us. It's not like my TV and my car is going to heaven if I'm allowed up there. You know what I mean? But we
Hmm.
do, feel like I've been saved from this dumb stuff that I've done. But I'm saying, like, we can't take it with us. So,
Hmm.
therein lies the argument about retirement versus this and that. And we'll have a financial person on here at some point to give us, more stuff on that, because I sure as heck could use that. I mean, Greg, does that resonate with you with the finance stuff?
Yeah, it does.
So
Hmm.
we got to get off the hamster wheel, Greg.
Yeah.
Um, let's dig deep, a little bit deeper.
Okay.
How can someone's, I hate going back to this, but childhood. It's
Hmm.
so important. We talk about this with your girls, and having that
You have to go
that
back to that.
straight
That's the
path.
start. That's the start.
It doesn't excuse it, but
Yeah.
it provides an explanation.
Hmm.
How would you coach somebody on getting off that wheel of making the same choices over and over again, so that they can actually make forward progress, or in your case, forever progress?
Mm, I like that. That was good, Mike.
Cheap, cheap plug.
That was good.
How would you coach somebody on that, Greg?
So I always try to find out what first of all what they think their problem is. So why do they think they're on this hamster wheel and where do they want to go? And then I'll work backwards from that. Like, okay, you want to go over there, so let's work backwards, but you're here. So
Hmm.
if you're here, you want to go there, what does that look like? And then when they're answering, you can kind of figure out where their head's at and what piece is missing in their brain, whether it's confidence or they're scared of change or they just might not have certain skills to do that, which in my opinion is it's not an easy fix, but that can easily be fixed with proper coaching and proper people in your corner helping you, giving you examples. So I try to find out what they think the problem is and then reverse engineer that into some sort of example where you can start setting small goals but attainable. So I think once people start getting a taste of taking half a step forward, half a step forward, then they start gaining little chunks of confidence. Then you can take off a bigger chunk now. And it just meanwhile you have a starting place and they made it take a couple baby steps, they're gaining their confidence, and then you stop them, you say, hey, turn around real quick, look where you were and look where you are now. You're not where you want to be over there, but now you're a quarter of the way closer. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize that. Like, exactly. Now keep going. And next thing you know, they're halfway there and eventually they make it there. And now, once they make it there, a lot of people don't want to have accountability or a lot of people have a hard time giving themselves credit. Once you make it there, turn around and look and be proud of your accomplishment. It's okay to, to take a win and to be proud of that and to showcase that, especially when you had a problem getting there in the first place. So, does that make sense?
Absolutely. But a
Yeah.
lot of people have a
So,
hard time, like a lot of people are just they get in that vicious cycle of beating themselves down. It's like almost like
yeah,
self-deprecation.
of course. Of course, because that's goes back to also maybe what they know or maybe what they grew up on. They were never good enough, or, I just there's a lot of like little kids in school that do well in school, straight A's or whatever, and then, they get a B and they freak out, or like the parent freaks out or whatever, and it's like, wait a second, why are you freaking out? It's just a B or straight A's. Like, that should be a celebration, in my opinion. And that's too much pressure to put on a little kid, and then that pressure now grows to
Right.
when they get older,
Right.
and it's now that'll manifest into something bigger, which sucks
Right.
because it didn't even have to be there in the first place,
Right.
and it's not even their fault.
That's the big
So
thing.
yeah, that's the huge thing.
Yeah. I think with people that are on the hamster wheel, you have to, like you said, go back to figure out why are you doing this? Are you looking for
Yeah,
validation? Are you looking for approval?
yeah.
What are you looking
I
for?
I want to find out from them what they think that is, and then why I think that is, and try to merge the two, because I think that'll put a clearer lens on their head where they can maybe dissect it and bring
Right.
it in and think about it and be like, all right, let me maybe there is something to this. Maybe I do need to change, or like let me try something
Yeah.
different and shake it up a bit.
Yeah, with that root of the problem too, it's also like let's just take for example, like someone who has parental issues. Like
Hmm.
it could be like mom issues, it could be like daddy issues, it could be something where there is a insatiable need to date someone who's emotionally unavailable because more than likely your parent that you're looking from approval from was not emotionally available. So figuring that out, what worked for me, I guess in a weird way, was forgiving that person. Right? It goes back to forgiveness. Understand, like, if you're, let's just say for a girl, for example, that dates the same type of guy over and over and over again, which is,
We
my
know
friend.
plenty of girls that do that.
Yeah. And my friend, who, like I said, I love her dearly. She's just a wonderful human being. And, there has to be something deeper where she's looking for validation for something because, you could say, oh my God, I do all this stuff for him. I do all this, I do this, I do this, so I'll do that. I'm like, yeah, you do, but you're not getting anything in return. Why? Like when someone tells you who they
Hmm.
are, don't ignore it. Like this is who people are.
Hmm.
Whatever you do, you can't fix people. You
Nope.
can't change people. You can't create. See, we were created in the image of God. We don't create others in the image of us. Doesn't work like that. I wish it could because I could create some awesome people. Right? It doesn't work like that. So we got to figure out what it is, where that problem is coming from, and then we got to act on it. If it's a parent we need to forgive, it's a friend we need to forgive, it's the next we need to forgive, or maybe we have to own up to our crap. You say, hey, listen, you don't need to physically reach out to that person. You can forgive and apologize all through energy, all throughout the year. And I think if you're able to go and correct those imbalances or those and rewire your frame of thinking, I think you're going to attract the situation you're going to want to be in that will get you off that wheel. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, but when you're saying all this, I'm like, well, then why don't most people do it? It's because what you're saying requires work, and it requires time. People don't want to put the self work in and the time. This is not instant. What Mike's talking about. This takes time. You have to invest in yourself, and this takes a long time. This isn't like, oh, I'm just gonna date somebody different this time and see what happens in a couple of weeks. Like, no, 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 no. It has nothing to do with that. Actually, it has nothing to do with the person. It's you. So you have to make an investment in yourself. And the first thing is you have to commit to it, but you have to commit to the time frame. This could take a long time. And
Right.
people just don't no one has time nowadays. It's funny, they don't do anything, but they don't have time.
And you said it so right about the work and the time. you have to put the work in.
You
You
have
have
to.
to, you have to do that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't do it,
Who's
then
gonna do it?
who's going to do it, right?
I used to.
So,
I mean, some of the girls we used to know in the past that we're friends with, that dated the same guys, got screwed over the same way, and they're like, come crying to us, like, what? This happened again. Look, like, after a while, I didn't care, and I didn't have any sympathy for you. Oh, Greg, you're so hard. Oh, you're so cold. Like, am I though? Am I? Because you can just insert a different name, and I'll tell you what the outcome is, because it's the same type of person. If you
right,
want somebody cool, then figure that out.
right.
I'm not saying it's easy, clearly, but we you gotta change it up a bit, but you have to be honest with yourself, and this all comes back to what we always say: accountability to yourself, and acting on what you're thinking and preaching, and walking the walk and putting the time in. But most people don't do that.
Well, I think, and I agree with you on that. I also find that when people we have friends and we know people that give deadlines, right? That, oh man, I'm gonna give this person 3 more months, and if they don't shape up, then I'm out. And they're still around. So it's
Yep.
like you want to be authoritative, but yet you're afraid
Sounds
of
good, right?
the. It
Sounds
sounds
good.
good.
Sounds tough, but
It's
how's that
like,
working for you?
right. Here's one for you. It sounds like when people say "I love you."
Mm, that's thrown out way too easy nowadays.
It's like organic. Like, do really people know what organic foods are? Oh, this is organic. It must be good for me. It's like, whoa, I love you, but a lot of
Mhm.
people don't know what love is.
No,
Like, listen,
but it
Greg,
sounds good, and I
100%.
hear it in all the songs and on these stupid shows, and oh, that's what they do. Okay, listen, you're just watering it down. I rather not hear it and then hear it once or twice, and have like a real impact. Like
Right.
it means something. It's not just like, oh, it's sunny out today. Like no one cares.
And Greg, I may not be that smart, but I know what love is.
I agree. Me too. I
And
also know what love isn't,
yeah,
which is just as important.
or
Hmm.
I want to know what love is. I want you to show me.
I just
One
want
of
to go on your boat.
my favorite songs.
Yeah. Hmm.
I hate Mike Gallagher's boat.com.
Book your reservation
Book
now.
your reservations. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So again, getting on that hamster wheel,
Yeah.
it
But it relates to
it
relationships like we're
it
talking
does.
about,
It really
friendships,
does.
jobs. Oh, I want a better job. Okay, are you doing anything about it? Oh, I'm just like, put my resume out there a little bit. That's just spinning those wheels. Like, are you
Yeah.
actively doing something? Are you networking? Are you talking to people? Are you calling in the favors? A lot of people have a hard time doing that too, and people people care too much what other people think. Little do they know, most of those people do not even care. They don't care what you do, what you're doing, who you're talking to. No one cares. So you might as well just do you and just keep bettering yourself.
We become a very selfish, insecure society.
I agree. It's all
You know,
surface
it's all,
bullshit. There's no substance there. Nothing.
yeah. And to make that quick pivot of like getting off that hamster wheel, and actually, like you said, it's like, oh well, I have the same job, or I have the same this. I think I've always said I'm a nice guy, but there's only so much I can take. And
Yeah.
once I get to that point, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship that could be toxic, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And then, you know what? Once that gets to the end, that switch goes off. And that's
Yeah.
it. I'm done.
And and a lot of people take mistake the kindness for weakness, which also
Right.
isn't good either,
Right.
you know? So I don't
Right.
know. It's a tough thing because I think now with society, with all like they're all, you go on Instagram, there's all these canned things now. It's the same people, and the people that people listen to, the influencers, is just it blows my mind. Why are you listening to these people? Most of them aren't even educated. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not professionals in that space. Why are you listening to them?
Right.
I don't get it.
I
Really don't
agree
get
with
it.
you. I agree with you. And I think,
No one thinks for themselves anymore. They need 10 different people telling them what to do and where to go. If I go down my driveway, do I make a right or a left? I don't know. Let me go ask 10 people. Make a decision yourself and stick to it. If it's the wrong one, okay, it could be fixed. If it's the right one, great, go make another one. It's not that hard. No one, a lot, not no one. Most people nowadays just don't think for themselves. They're looking for someone else to lead them or to give them answers or guidance. And you have to be careful who you're listening to for that because it could really fuck you up. Just saying.
and I think it became more prominent 4 years ago. When you say, Greg?
Of course. Of course.
Mm.
Of course. And it's getting worse.
But then
And we're
again,
all suffering for it. All of us. All of
yeah.
us.
And I think for some people, being on that hamster wheel, I think you can only go so fast without fatigue.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a matter of getting on that wheel, going fast. You keep doing it over days, weeks, months, years, and finally at a point where like I'm like just done. Like when
And
I
if
quit
you're
my
good,
job, I was done. I couldn't give anymore. I was done.
and when you get fatigued, you might as well get fatigued by doing something for you as opposed to doing something for somebody else. Well, you just said when you were done, you were done. But you also
Yeah.
knew it. You knew it
Yeah.
like that. And it was the right decision, it was right timing, like it all worked out. You pivoted and you had a plan and you executed it and it was awesome. But you knew and you did it. You could have stayed on that hamster wheel and just been, and we know people that are still on it.
On it.
Okay. As long as you're happy, I'm happy for you. I don't care what you do, but
Right.
I don't want to hear complaints if you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah. And the same can be true with relationships too. Like,
Yeah.
it's like it's the same. I'm gonna give him or her a deadline. Oh, if he or she does this again, I'm out. Why does it have to take that?
Why does it even have to take a deadline? If he not if he or she's not doing it now, what do you think the difference between a month or 2 weeks or 2 months is going to do? Nothing. But you're just being complacent because on a lot of people in relationships, both guys and girls really just love the idea of that person. They don't like or love the person.
Of
They
course, of
like the image they created of that person or of the role that they play in their lives, not that person.
course, of course.
And a lot of people mistake that and they're like, "Oh, maybe it'll work out or maybe they'll change." Like those are all horrible. No one's changing. You got to know what you want and what you don't want. It's just as important.
That is 100% correct. And I think, and then the advice I gave my friend as well is you need to be clear and concise, especially in your personal life.
Crystal
Professional life can
clear.
be a little okay. There's a lot of factors, but in your personal life, I feel it's extremely important to be as clear and concise as possible because the clearer you are and the more you can see that target, the more likely when you have a ball or you have a gun, in your case, because you're the champion of the Second Amendment, you're likely able to strike that target and hit your goal.
Yeah, and also have to you have to be clear because for two reasons. We're smart guys, but we're not mind readers. So you can't assume, "Oh, they know what I mean." No, they don't. Sometimes they have to be told. So you should be crystal clear in your intentions. And also, it's for you. So you're clear in your head that you set the tone and the standard and you
Right.
know what you said right out of the gate and there's no questions about it and you can reference it if it ever had to come up again. So being crystal clear is for them and for you.
My friend Patrick always said, he goes, you dictate how you want to be treated. And it's
Absolutely.
true. If you feel that you are a piece of garbage, then you're going to be treated like a piece of garbage. If you
Yep.
feel like you are a king or a queen, you're going to be treated by a king or queen. Not that it comes down to material things, respect.
Yep.
You're true. I think that's the biggest thing: respect and love and honor, and people will appreciate you because you're telling someone your value without actually putting a monetary amount around it. Like,
Yeah.
I am not going to be spoken to this way. I'm not going to be treated this way. If you want to engage in dialogue with me, this is how I want to be treated. If you can't, then send me an
Yeah.
email. Shoot me a
That's it.
text, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I think as you're on that hamster wheel, though, sometimes people can lose their value and their
And
self
that goes,
worth.
yeah, because they don't have the confidence, or they lost their confidence somewhere along the way, or it was beaten down, or whatever. It's just not there, and they got to get that back.
Yeah, it's like you're chasing something you're never going to catch. But
Never.
if I just go a little bit faster, if I just do this, maybe he or she'll turn around. I've been there and I've done that. And I've had a funny conversation with a friend of mine. I said, I moonlight as a fluffer.
Hmm.
She's like, well, what do you mean by that? I was like, well, listen, the last two girls I dated, after me, they got married. So like, if you want to get married, date me for a few months. I'll get everything in working order and I'll make it better for the next guy.
Hmm.
But because I thought a certain way, that's what I thought I was relegated to. Oh, wow, now when you become clear and concise what you want, you realize that those people that you were with, they didn't really fit your value system. So at the end of the day, I was done a favor, a huge favor, a tremendously huge favor. Because in the Bible it says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who reveres a woman who fears the Lord is to be revered. So, from a guy standpoint, it could be okay, the physical, this, but if you got someone who is as passionate about faith or passionate about guns or passionate about sports or passionate about fishing or whatever it might be, and they have this in their life, then really, like you always say, Greg, about the connection. And it's true, right? We
Yeah.
want that connection with someone. And you know what? It sure you have to be attracted to somebody physically, but I also
Yeah.
feel like there what fuels that attraction is the connection. What type of level can you connect with somebody on?
100%. 100%. That's what
And
it is.
and that's something that's extremely important to you.
It's so important to me. It's for me. It's simple. It's such a simple thing, yet clearly it's so hard. Just the connection with somebody, like you said, physical, yes, of course. But what means more, it bears more weight to me, is the connection someone has with me or somebody.
Right.
It's the mental, it's the emotional, it's all the other stuff that just enhances the physical, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah, I agree. And I think, to get into judgment, because we're on that hamster wheel, we're looking for approval, we're looking for this. I think along the way in our minds, we feel like we're being judged. If, oh, I have a boat, a girl's gonna like me better. So I gotta go down a hamster wheel to try to afford a boat. Or if I gotta, if I do this, a girl will like me. Or if I'm a girl, if I get this, he'll like me better. If I
Yep.
do
Hmm.
my cheeks or my lips or my if I
Ugh.
get enhancements or whatever a girl wants to do,
Ugh.
if I do that, I'll be more validated in society. Well, we can even look at this. People look at us and they perceive us as a certain way. And
All the
then
time. All the time.
you'd be surprised when you drop a God bomb on someone. They're like, "You go to church?" I'm like, "Well, why? You don't think that you know, I can't go? Like, what? Oh, because you didn't expect the status quo of saying, "Hey, let's go grab a drink," instead of saying, "Hey, like, you got some stuff going on. Why don't you swing by my church in Boynton Beach and go check it out?" I mean, it's not that bad. It's not like you're joining a cult. It's like it's super cool. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or they'll look at you and they'll be like,
Take your pick.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You must be a player.
Oh yeah.
Little they know you have like a wife and two kids. Oh my
Hmm.
God, you're a father? Like, maybe you were a father at 20, you didn't know about it. But I'm just saying, like,
Of course.
because we're, as a society, we're so quick to judge. We get back on that hamster wheel. They're like, no, 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 I'm not like that. Let me just, and it gets exhausting. Being on a
Yeah.
hamster wheel gets freaking exhausting, wouldn't you say?
It's exhausting, and you're just doing all of that for other people who really, at the end of the day, don't care about you. And it doesn't matter. They're not going to help out or improve your life or your situation. Only you can do that. You're the only one.
So then how do you like let it go? How do you coach someone on letting this go? Like, Jesus, Greg, I'm tired of going around in circles. I'm just exhausted. How do I
Listen,
get off this? How do I
I'm
let
a
it go?
harder I'm a harder approach than a lot of these other softer people out there, but then just get off. When you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you'll make a change. I hope that's right now or tomorrow, but that's up to you. If you want to change, you got to just do it.
Yeah.
There's no like ease in entry or, oh, let me just dip my foot in the pool. You're either getting in or you're not. And if you're not, let me know when you're ready, but I'm not wasting my time with you.
Right.
I shouldn't have to, there shouldn't be all pushing and no, it shouldn't be all resistance. You're just not ready then. You're just not ready. So how do I coach somebody? Pretty rough, but firm but fair. I'll put it that way. Firm but fair.
And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and we've all been there, so it's not like we're like for real estate. Like I've done all of it, so I'm not trying to coach them on something I haven't done or been through a million times. Like I've been through it, so I know if you do this, these two things can happen. If you don't do this, these five things can happen. So what do you want? And then pick it. It's not like a lot of these coaches now, they don't even have experience or real life experience or anything. That's crazy to me. So how are you going to help somebody in a situation? So I don't understand that. But listen, everyone's different. So there's a difference between being that people that want change will gravitate towards somebody that can change them. For me, it's real estate. For you, it's people's physical, their how they feel about themselves physically. But there's people that want people like that, but then there's people that want to be entertained. And we are not that. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not here to just fluff you and just, you know, tell you what you want to hear or shine you in any way. If you want results and you want to put the work in, I'm your guy for that. You're the guy for that. If you want to get healthier and get in awesome shape, you're the guy. But if you want to just be entertained or laugh or like, not be held accountable, I'm being honest, don't call me. I will hold you to the coals accountable because that's how I learned and that's how I would want to be, especially if I'm paying somebody. You should
Exactly.
be held accountable, and being held accountable is uncomfortable. Sometimes I coach some of the agents and I'm in my one-on-ones. I'm like, okay, what'd you do this week? And they're like, I didn't do anything. And I'm like, okay, I'm not mad at you. Like I'm not your father, but I'm a little disappointed. I'm going to tell them that like, okay, you're wanting something different. You're paying me to help you and I'm mapping things out with you, but you're not putting up your end of the bargain. So how is that going to change? How are you going to make more money and get more listings, let's just say, if you're not following the plan? Because you weren't following the plan from the beginning, nothing happened, that's why you called me. So now we've come up with a plan, we've worked backwards and you have to do the work once again. If they're not doing the work, I'm not your guy. Because I'm not just going to take your money if you're not going to do anything. There's plenty of people that'll do that. I'm not about that. I don't care about the money enough for that. I want people that get results because that to me is way more satisfying than just, charging somebody to waste my time for an hour. That's not what I'm trying. That's all I'm about. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you're coaching somebody, you have to meet people where they're at and apply the methodology accordingly. But again, accountability is something that before the pandemic was highly encouraged, and I feel like since the last 4 years, accountability doesn't seem to ring too well in society, wouldn't you say?
No, and it's not just the political stuff. It's just in every area. In every area, just accountability is off. When you look at the shows, no one takes accountability for anything. Nowhere, nowhere.
Yeah,
But it's just,
it's very sad.
but now that makes it okay now in society. It lessens it and it desensitizes everybody. So now that's the new norm. I don't have to be accountable because nothing's gonna happen to me. Oh, okay. Same thing what's happening in New York. Some of these people, you punch a cop in the face, nothing happens to you. Okay. I don't know how that works. If I punch a cop in the face, you probably won't see me for 10 years.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It is. So there's no accountability. So yeah, what is that? Listen, if I'm a criminal, man, I'm loving life right now. I'm making a ton of
Yeah.
money. Like, this is great
Yeah.
because there's no accountability for anything. People don't want to do the work. Cops don't want to do the paperwork. Cops are in a horrible position, in my opinion, because they have to do what their leaders tell them, and their hands are tied. You know, these cops that just got shot, I forgot where it was. It's just horrible. It's horrible what's going on. But you know what? It's going to keep happening because there's no accountability for any of these criminals out there that are doing shit.
Especially if it's the same result in the fall, we are in a lot of trouble, I feel. But again, it's
It's going to be a problem either way. I don't.
yeah,
It's no matter who gets in. That's not what I'm talking about. Either way, there's going to be problems. It's just going to be which problems are going to be bigger and at the forefront. If person A gets in, it's going to be this list of problems and fuck ups, and if person B gets in, it's going to be this list. Either way, problems. So that's why Mike and I always say you have to have your affairs in order financially, home protection, money, everything. You got to have everything ready. You never know,
and know the law before it gets changed.
which is constantly changing, and they change it while we're asleep. So yeah,
They're smart. They're definitely smart people. But again, it's being in a hamster wheel. The last, well, we talk about inflation, right? And it's a hamster wheel of, all right, what do I have to do to make this? What do I have to do to that? And then it's like you're looking at excuses. And then like look at our conversations off the air. We complain about certain things, right? But we also do stuff about it to try to correct the
we
situation.
try, and it doesn't always
Yeah,
work, but at least we're trying. So if that doesn't work, we'll try something else.
yeah. We just got to keep fighting, and I
Just
and,
keep
and
plugging
not
away.
let not let any let don't let anyone rob you of your peace. Don't let anyone rob you of your self worth. Don't let anyone rob you of your self validation.
Don't
don't let
yeah.
anyone do that.
Don't give up your power to anybody. Don't let
Power.
anybody take your power.
That's true.
Yeah. Which is
That is
hard.
true.
It's hard to do. So
Right, and these all contribute to get on that hamster wheel.
all of it.
It
All of
all
it's a part of
does.
the hamster wheel.
Anxiety, anger, depression,
Everything.
all that stuff. It's a vicious cycle of the hamster wheel. And I think again, identify, plan, and then action. Like
Yeah.
IPAs, like I love IPA. Well, I don't really like IPAs. I mean, I'm a domestic. I like my Miller Lights. I mean, I've always been a Miller Light guy since I can remember. Right, but for those of us that like IPAs, understand like how that works. Plan, action.
That's
You
it.
got to have a plan, and then from there, you got to have something of action to go with that, so that you can get off that wheel. Are you going to jump? Are you going to like have someone catch you? Get off that wheel because it's like go. You're not going anywhere. It's the same stuff over and over again.
That's
Identify,
right.
plan, and then get that action step out.
Execute. Do it.
Greggy T, any final thoughts? I know it's been a tough topic today, but I think we've been able to tackle it pretty well.
Yeah. Listen, the final thoughts. We all can get on it. We've all been on it. And we all know people that are on it. And we all know people that have gotten off of it. It's your choice at the end of the day. I don't care what anybody says. You're either choosing to stay on it or you're choosing to jump off and try something new. And it's just a matter of time. So when you get up that enough courage or whatever, I say do it. I know Mike says do it.
Yep.
You gotta get off. If you don't, then just don't complain and be happy where you're at. No one wants to hear it.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. It just when it becomes a broken record and it's the same story over
now
and
you
over
get labeled
again,
like we always talked about. Now you're labeled.
you get
Oh, I'm a
labeled.
victim. I'm a victim. Blah blah blah. No one wants to hear that. Now you're in the
Yeah.
victim category, and
Yeah.
people look at you now differently.
Yep. And we can't blame our parents. We can't blame
Nope.
our exes. We can't blame anyone.
Nope.
It could help explain certain
You could
things, but
blame
it's
me,
not.
like most people do. You could blame me.
Or we could blame Trump, which everyone does. But it's one of those things where it's just like the past sets a precedent for our future. It's there to teach us. It's like history, right?
Mhm.
It teaches us, it educates us, but it also gives us a warning. Hey, don't do this again, or see the same result, no matter what the situation presents. If it's the same, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah,
So use that as a lesson to help you get off that hamster wheel. Uh,
absolutely.
Greg T, where can people find you if they were enthralled by this conversation, your gems of
Mhm.
of of wisdom, where can they find you, sir?
You can go over, you can find me on EmpowerMan's Instagram or our website, empowerman.com. World's greatest bio, which is Mike's, which you should add to actually, now that you have a boat. You can also go over to Forever Progress on Instagram or foreverprogress.com and message me or whatever. I put videos out on LinkedIn as well under Greg Tedora, all real estate related. That's my field. I'm passionate about it. I love it. And there's always money to be made in real estate, no matter what you hear. It's just what you do with the info. That's all. How about you, Mike?
Intel is everything.
It's everything. It's everything.
Everything. Well, my business is going through a rebrand right now, and once information becomes available, I will let people know where they can find me or
Hmm.
certain tidbits or little snapshots of what I do.
That's
Once
right.
the rebrand is over, because I'm always taking stock and always looking at how to get better. So in that case, we had a great guest last week in Travis
Yeah.
Orndorff. He was
Yep.
amazing. We've had a lot of great guests. We're going to have more great guests coming on in the future. But I
Hmm.
encourage people that are listening, go back and listen to some of our old stuff.
Yeah. I got a
We
question the other day from somebody that listens. Can you guys cover anger? So then I obviously I sent them our anger episode about that. Maybe we do another one on anger. We'll
I'm not
see.
angry. There's no
I'm not
need for
angry
it.
either.
No, I mean, why
No.
anger, man? Just let it go, man.
Yeah.
I would love to touch that topic on anger.
I'll do it
Maybe we
again.
can find some anger experts.
Hi.
You
Yeah.
know, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Cool,
but
man.
this was awesome, Greggy T. Thanks for that. Where people can reach you at. Another
Hmm.
great episode in the books. We're starting year number 2, and
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to the future. I mean, April's flying by so quick. We're going to be into May soon. We're getting closer to the election, which is going to be a little scary. And
Hmm.
as the election gets closer, Greg and I are probably going to get a little more involved because this is all hands on deck. Again, no
Hmm.
matter if you like one option or the other, let's
Hmm.
keep in mind that people died for us, so we'd have the right to have a fair election, that our vote does count, and that what we say does influence how things are conducted in this country. And remember, we elect the politicians. They work for us. We don't work for them. And we need to make sure that our voices are heard, no matter
Well
what you
said,
vote
Mike.
for.
Well said.
And on that note, I'm going to sign off from the beautiful, sunny, free state of Florida. Ron DeSantis is my homeboy. Dougie T.
Yeah, it's still cold up here. We haven't turned the weather, but it's all good, man. Excited for the weekend. So thanks for listening, everybody. Be safe out there and get your stuff in order. All right.
God bless America.
Hmm.